I thought you said it was lunchtime. Jamie chided as he shut the door of the TARDIS. As was his custom, he was wearing 18th century Scottish Highland dress, complete with kilt. A long brown fringe met a somewhat vacant facial expression. Cool air nipped at his bare legs. He was addressing a small middle-aged man, that mysterious traveller in time and space, known only as the Doctor. His face was craggy and lived in, and a thatch of black hair hung over sharp blue eyes and a slightly down-turned mouth. Pinned onto his unironed shirt was a black bow tie, and his baggy checkered trousers were held up with rope. His scruffy attire was topped off with an oversized black frock coat. "It is," the Doctor said, replying to Jamie's question with enthusiasm. Jamie cast his eyes up to the heavy clouds above. "Well, you could have fooled me. It's like the middle of the night." Their travelling companion, Zoe, tightened the belt on her long raincoat. A black bob haircut framed a round, pretty face. In her current attire, she might have been mistaken for a young woman of 20th century Earth, but she was, in fact, an astrophysicist from a space station of the late 21st century. "I've never seen such a high degree of pollution." Their craft, the TARDIS, had materialized in its usual guise of an old London police box, and for once appeared to fit its surroundings. The planetoid on which they had landed was a mass of industry, terraced houses and roads, the brickwork blackened with soot. The wail of a klaxon interrupted the distant clanging of metal. "Intriguing," the Doctor said. "If I didn't know better, I would think we'd landed in the north of England during the Industrial Revolution." In the distance was what looked like a derelict mill, its windows and roof covered in a distinctive silver metal. The Doctor was drawn towards it. As they walked, Zoe observed, "I think they're solar panels." "Yes, I have that feeling too," the Doctor replied, his curiosity fired up. A long gravel roadway stretched down from the entrance of the building to some tall iron gates. Jamie nudged the Doctor, drawing his attention to a man, woman and child waiting outside the gates, all three clad in blue overalls. The woman was quietly weeping. The child held her tightly around the waist, and the man, an arm around the woman's shoulders, looked sad. His jaw clenched and his brow furrowed. "Hello there," the Doctor said. "Is everything all right?" The man looked the Doctor up and down. "You're not in your overalls," he said. "Don't tell me they actually gave you a day off." My friends and I are travellers," the Doctor replied. "I can see that you're distressed. Is there anything that we can do to help?" "Thank you," the man said. "Our daughter has just died. There's nothing you can do." The man glanced at his wife, whose tearful eyes were now anxiously fixed on the building beyond the gates. The Doctor offered his condolences and introduced himself and his companions. Responding, the man said he was called Wetham and his wife was Coral. Their 6-year-old son was Vebu, Veb for short, and their daughter's name had been Raimai. "What happened to her?" the Doctor asked gently. "They had her dislodging the drill head at the foundry," Wetham explained. Coral said, "I'm going to put a formal complaint in with Foreman Wren when our shift is over. I think it's outrageous to put children through that kind of barbarism. At one time, they had rights." The awkward silence was broken when Veb suddenly let go of Coral and ran to the gates. She's here, he shouted, and jumped up and down with excitement. The Doctor, Jamie and Zoe looked through the gates and saw that a slender teenage girl had appeared at the door of the building. She waved to the family and then ran toward them. The girl was wearing the same blue overalls. Her hair, long and copper-coloured, was tied back in a ponytail. The gates swung open, and as Wetham held out his arms in greeting, she ran straight into them and hugged him tight. Coral laughed heartily and said, "Let me look at you." The girl released herself from Wetham and grinned. "I've come back a bit older," she said, bouncing up and down on her tiptoes. She reached for her ponytail to examine it. "Is this auburn or ginger?" "Auburn," Wetham said. "Actually, it's ginger," Coral corrected him. "And you have freckles." The girl laughed aloud. "Freckles? And what colour are my eyes? Are they still hazel?" Vebu formed two fists and punched the air, keen to join in. "They are blue," he shouted, his mass of brown curls springing over his shoulders. For a second, the teenager was deflated. "Ah," she said, "I loved having hazel eyes." She grinned at Wetham. "But it could have been worse," she told him. "I could have come back as a boy."